Updated the 19th of October 2017, 1440 AEDT. The check has been sent. That is the message from the White House today after the father of a slain U.S. Army sergeant said a generous offer from President Donald Trump had not materialized. Key points. Chris Beldridge told The Washington Post that Mr. Trump offered his family $25,000 after the death of his 22-year-old son at the hands of an Afghan police officer in June. He said, "I'm going to write you a check out of my personal account for $25,000, and I was just floored," Mr. Beldridge said. "I could not believe he was saying that, and I wish I had it recorded because the man did say this." He said, "No other president has ever done something like this, but he said, I'm going to do it." But Mr. Bainbridge told the newspaper the money never arrived, only a condolence letter. "I opened it up and read it, and I was hoping to see a check in there, to be honest," the father said. "I know it was kind of far-fetched thinking, but I was like, damn, no check. Just a letter saying I'm sorry." A White House spokeswoman said the media was advancing a biased agenda by following up on the Beldridge story. "The check has been sent," White House spokeswoman Lindsay Walters said in an email. "It's disgusting that the media is taking something that should be recognized as a generous and sincere gesture, made privately by the president, and using it to advance the media's biased agenda." According to The Washington Post, it took former President Barack Obama 18 months to fulfill a similar promise to the family of Kayla Mueller, who was killed while being held captive by Islamic State in Syria in 2015. The undisclosed sum to a charity set up in the 26-year-old's name only arrived after a media report about its absence, the newspaper said, with Mr. Obama describing it as an oversight. Trump in hot water with Gold Star families. The issue added to an already existing controversy over Mr. Trump's response to military families who have lost loved ones. On Monday, Mr. Trump said some of his predecessors didn't do anything to console relatives of fallen soldiers, drawing widespread criticism. He offered no evidence to back up his claim and it was immediately shown to be false. Despite Mr. Trump's boast that he calls all or nearly all military families when they lose a loved one, relatives of at least a half-dozen people who died in military service since he became president have said they never got a call from him about their loss. It also drew a swift response from Mr. Obama's foreign policy advisor Ben Rhodes, who said it was an outrageous and disrespectful lie. Mr. Trump made the claims in response to questions about why he had not publicly spoken about 4 servicemen killed in the African nation of Niger earlier this month. He backed up his comments by suggesting the family of his Chief of Staff John Kelly, whose son was killed while serving in Afghanistan, may not have received a call from Mr. Obama. The Trump administration has since said General Kelly is disgusted that dealing with military deaths has become politicized. White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders said General Kelly was frustrated that the focus has become on the process and not that American lives were lost. Asked if Mr. Trump politicized General Kelly's son's death, Ms. Huckabee Sanders said he was responding to a question and stating a fact. Trump accused of disrespecting slain soldiers. Family thin. On Wednesday, Mr. Trump denied an account by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson of Florida, who said the president told a grieving widow that her husband knew what he signed up for. Ms. Wilson said she was in a limousine with the widow of Sergeant David Johnson, on the way to greet his coffin off the plane, when the phone call happened. "I didn't say what that congresswoman said," Mr. Trump told reporters. "I had a very nice conversation with the woman, with the wife who sounded like a lovely woman," he said. But Sergeant Johnson's mother, Tawanda Jones Johnson, told The Washington Post she was present during Mr. Trump's call and supported the congresswoman's account of Mr. Trump's comment. "President Trump did disrespect my son and my daughter and also me and my husband," Ms. Jones Johnson said. Asked by reporters about an earlier tweet saying he had proof of what he said, Mr. Trump said, "Let her Wilson make her statement again and y'all find out." The White House condemned Ms. Wilson's claims as appalling and disgusting. Sergeant Johnson was one of the soldiers killed in Niger. Reuters app.